Hello everyone, and welcome. I'm VelvettB, and thanks for joining me for this How to Build Steps series. And we are today working on roofing. So, in this little build that we are doing, we are taking an inspiration right up there. So that is our inspiration that we are going to be recreating. So this is a Spanish Revival inspired home which we are building in Oasis Springs, and today we are going to be roofing. I'm going to take you through my roofing techniques for getting this sort of style of house roofed. I know that roofing is not the easiest for a lot of people, so hopefully I can show you that it's not as bad as you think. Hopefully. Fingers crossed. Let's get straight into it. We're not going to muck around. Let's get roofing. So first up, let's have a look at our inspiration up close and personal. So along the top area or the front area here, we do have what I call, what the game also calls, a half gable roof. So this is the half gabled roof here, and this will fit really nicely up here. We should just be able to put this straight in. So use the triangle bracket keys to rotate. And we're just going to stretch that all along. So we've got that sort of sitting there. Now we're just going to use the pitch arrow, which is this larger rounded arrow up here. We're just going to use that to bring it down. So just holding down the mouse and click and drag it down. So we just need to bring it down to the right angle. So if you have a look on the inspiration picture, you'll see that the roof sits just below the window. And we've got this here sitting right below, just below the window. We could maybe go down one more. So what we're going to do now is just going to bring up and tidy the eaves. So this arrow here, we're going to bring that in, but we're going to hold down shift at the same time. So what that does is it allows us to just change one edge of the roof at a time. So if you pull this in without touching anything, you'll see both sides come in. If we hold down shift, then it's just going to be this side coming in. The reason that we do that is just makes it for a tidier build. If you are doing anything fancy on the inside, like anything where you use the fencing as a room, or even like adding a platform that creates a new room, it does cause a little bit of an issue with roofing coming through the walls if you've got roofing coming through the walls. So just be aware that it is a good practice to have tidier roofing where you bring in the eaves so they don't stick through the walls. There are some edges, so if you look at the inside edge here on the inspiration, that's all neat up against the wall. Whereas here, we've kind of got it like sticking through the wall. So we need to bring that in here as well on the side. So again, hold down shift, bring in your eave arrow, which is a little pointed arrows without a stick on them. And we bring that in there. So that's a nice tidy edge. And we're just going to bring this also in one here because we're sticking a little bit too far out. Now, when we look at the inspiration, the eave does stick out over the edge here. I might actually hold down shift and pull out the eave one here, so we have a little bit more of an eave sticking out. Okay, so now we're going to do the top part of our build. So you'll see here on top that we have two clear areas. So we have this area here, boom, 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 boom. So you can sort of see the edges here. And then we have this area here, boom, 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 boom. The big thing for me when I'm roofing is I break it down into sections. So our first section was this section here. We've got a section here, and then we've got a section here, and then we've got the two sections up top. Break it down, bite-sized pieces, and makes the roofing less intimidating. And if we've got anything around the back as well, so we've got another section here and another section here. So we are going to start on the top. So again, as I said, we've broken this down into bite-sized pieces. So when we look at our inspiration, this looks like a gable roof. So I'm going to pop a gable roof on this section. So let's do that now. And just using the size arrows to resize the roof to fit the top of our build, just like that. Now, looking at the gable roof, it is a little bit flatter than what we have here. So I'm just going to use our pitch tool again, and we're going to go down 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I'm just holding down the mouse and just dragging down slowly so I can count that down. And I feel like that's probably a pretty good match for the height of the roof that we have in the picture. It is a little bit of guesstimating and experience, I guess, on that one. So I'm just going to bring this eave in on this side here. So hold down shift and bring down the eave on that side. I want to leave the eave sticking out on the side because then that matches this eave here. Next section that we have is this section here. So looking at the type of roof that we have here in the inspiration, this actually looks like a hipped roof. So it looks like we've got a triangle at the front and then another one on the side going back, you know, best guess and that sort of thing. So I am going to put a hipped roof on and then drag it out using the resizing tools, drag it out again here. We do have a little bit of an issue here where we are running into the problem of these two roofs not connecting. We are going to fix that in a minute. Like this roof here, we are a little bit high. So I'm going to do the same thing again and drag this roof pitch a little bit lower by force. So we're going to hold the arrow key, the pitch arrow key, and go slowly down 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that is a lower sort of style roof, and that does suit the Spanish Revival style, is a slightly flatter roof. So what we're going to do now is we're going to join these two roofs together just to make it look like they have a little bit more flow and cohesion. So we're just going to drag this roof across until it connects, and you can see there's a smooth connection there, and it looks like a whole cohesive roof. We can bring the eaves down on our hipped roof as well. These only come down all at once. There isn't any way that you can just do one side. When it comes to a hipped roof, the gable and the half gable are the only roofs where you can actually change which side you bring down. The hipped roof, the whole lot comes down. I think that looks good with the roof down, so I'm going to leave that down for now. So now we are going to work on our front porch area. Because we have changed the pitch of the roofs, so we've got 3 styles of roofs here, and they've got some really good set pitches. So the pitch, I like to keep consistent depending on what the build is and how the roofs are sort of sitting. But where I can, I do like to keep the pitch consistent for aesthetic's sake, because if you have different pitches all over the place, it makes the house look a little funny. So we're just actually going to copy this roof here. So select the roof and hit the copy key, and we're going to turn that around using the triangle bracket, and let's just place that on top. Okay, so that's going to now be the same pitch, the same roof angle as this roof here. So we're just going to resize this using the size arrows, one there and then another one here, bringing that in so it just sits on the outside, and then holding down shift, we're going to bring in and just tidy that up, that last eave, and then we have our little arrow, and that looks perfect, exactly like the inspiration. See on the inspiration here how just a little tip of the triangle just kind of matches or bumps against the window there. So that's exactly how it was in the inspiration, so that's perfect. So let's bring this in for now. So hold down shift and pull in our eave, and we'll see aesthetically whether or not we like it in or not when we paint it. So we'll add some paint and we'll add some trim, and then we'll decide whether or not we want to have it sticking out or not. This is why I don't always make the final decision on the eaves until after I've painted it and got the trim on, because sometimes you want to be able to see the trim. If you've got like a fancy trim like say this one here and you've pulled it in, you're not going to be able to see the fanciness of it all. So it does depend a little bit on what my decisions are as far as trim goes and the color, and then how it all sort of looks as it comes together. Then we're going to tackle this section here, which, looking at this again, is going to be the gable roof, and we're going to run that up against the house. So same thing again, we are going to copy our gable roof, we're going to turn that into a side gable roof just like in the picture. So again, using your triangle bracket keys to rotate. So we've actually mucked around with the eaves in this, so I'm going to bring the eaves back out so we can make a decision on what we're doing with those. Stretch it out using our size arrows and match that to the top of our house. So we have eaves sticking out on this side, eaves sticking out on this side, and this side. So we need to decide what we're doing with these. For now, I'm actually going to bring this side in. So hold down shift and bring this side in, because we're going to do something here, and yeah, we need to work that out. Now we do have a little bit of a problem in that this side here is just a little bit too high. So we are going to change the pitch on this so it's a little bit lower. It is sitting a touch too high. you can see in the inspiration there, it doesn't actually go over the top into the roofing. So I think we need to bring this down probably about 2. So 1 and 2. So we are going to have like a bit of a flatter pitch there, but we may change this again because what we're going to do is cover the space here. So we've got a little bit of matching to do as far as the pitch goes. This roof here, we are going to extend so that comes over to cover that last little gap here in our roofing. So we're going to copy this and we're going to paste it on this roof here, resize it so it sort of fits in the area, and we're going to slide that across so that covers that area there and there. The eave in so that all matches. Now you'll see the problem here is that we haven't matched these pitches, so we actually need to bring this one up using our pitch arrow until it matches, and whew, look at that, sits evenly. So I kind of feel like now that we've got that there, I want to change this. So let's delete that. We're going to bring this across, and I'm just going to hold down shift and extend the eave so that sits really nicely there. There's no gap. Okay, so we're going to copy this and bring this over here, and I'm just going to bring in all of the eaves so I can just resize it because we have changed some of the eave stuff around on this. So we're just basically going to start again there. Let's stretch that out so it sits over our roofing area, and we're going to hold down shift, bring out the eave here, and then bring out the eave here so it matches. Do look at the front of this section here. When you look at the inspiration, there just seems to be like a little bit where it comes out and it goes past our front porch area. So obviously we've got like a little porch area that comes out to here that we need to cover. So let's pull this out one and another one out here. And we're just going to go just past the porch, just like it is in the picture. And I'm going to make sure I've brought in the eaves on the side so that we're not through the wall. Now we're just going to go around the back and basically do the same sort of thing. So I'm going to take this roof here, copy it, boink, and I'm going to rotate it round using our triangle rotation key, bracket key, so 1 and 2. And basically, we just need to fix the eaves up, and that should sit there perfectly. So we need to hold down shift, pull this eave out, hold down shift, and pull that eave in. And we've got a nice, exactly the same roof on both sides. And here, again, same thing. I'm just going to copy the roof. And we're going to flip it around. So use your triangle bracket key. And we're going to shrink that down because this back one is a little bit shorter. Make sure we've got our eaves all the way in, and we have our little roof here, the same as what we started with around the front, just a little smaller. So now we're going to paint and trim our roofs, and then we have done our roofing for our build. You'll notice that we have some blank spots out here, so we're just going to copy and paste on each of the roofs just so we covered our little roofing sections and got our roofs painted. So boom, 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 we are done there. Let's choose a roofing color. So the roofing style is a tile, so we can eliminate things like your shingles and like your steel roof. There's a couple of tiles that really do work nicely with the Spanish Revival style. So we have our base K Mediterranean magic tile roof, the mission style rooftop. We've potentially got the modern Tomarani tile. That's a possibility. Further out possibility, but a possibility. I'm going to start with this one. This is the one that most of the houses have in Oasis Springs already, and is probably the best option. Looking at our inspiration, it's definitely an orange color, so I want to try and use either that's sort of like a red. I feel like this might be a little bit more orange, so let's go with that. And we'll just color all of our roofs. I feel like that's a really good match for the style. Looking at the trim, we've kind of got a wooden brown trim on the edge of our roofs. It's pretty plain, so I'm not going to use any of our decorative options for our roof trims. So I'm just going to go for a plain one. It does stick out a little bit, so we want to maybe use a beveled out roof trim in a brown. So let's see how that looks. I think that's pretty on point with what we were looking at in the inspiration, and round that side and then round that side. We can potentially go a little bigger, but that's sort of like, you know, cartoon size big. I think maybe the other potential is that we can do the square roof trim which is a little wider. It's kind of the in between the beveled roof trim and the beveled out roof trim. The square roof trim is, yeah, just that little touch wider, and I think they actually might work really nicely. I don't often use this one, but I think that might be a good option for this particular build. Okay, so that, just like that, is our roofed house. So that is how I would roof that house. I hope you guys have learned or have enjoyed this little building tutorial, our little how to roof the Spanish Revival home. I feel like we are starting to really look like our inspiration. You can sort of see how that's coming together. So in the next installment, we are going to be working on landscaping. So join me then for a little bit of landscaping and trying to make this look really cool. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys had fun, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye.